Welcome, everyone. It's our Tuesday night team call, and Marilyn Moser here out of Northwest Iowa. Just got back from convention in Salt Lake City. We had our global convention, and it was a massive success. Even though it was a hybrid event, there were some of you that joined virtually, which was great. And just so you know, you get the replay for 30 days. And so that came out on Monday. You'll be able to access that for another 30 days, which was phenomenal. There's actually added on some breakout sessions that we didn't even get to see. They added that to it. So that will be good to have that training as well. So lots of great information there. Those of us that traveled to the event, there was probably about, what'd you think, Julia, about 1,200 or so, over 1,000, I think, in the room.
Yeah. Oh, I'd say well over 1,000. Yeah, I would say. I think I asked someone. It was like 1,800 were registered.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So it was actually pretty successful considering, and just the great getting the feels of having the hugs and the camaraderie and the energy in the room. It was so powerful. So the next live event, I would ask that you please try to attend. We are really excited that we actually found out this today that we're having the Road to Croatia tour coming through Sioux Falls. So a Pro 10 and a corporate sponsor, just similar to what they did at the Road to Convention tour. We will be helping with that and hosting that in Sioux Falls in the next 6 weeks, for 3 to 4 weeks, something like that. So end of October, early November. And if you say, what do you mean Croatia? That if you were on the event, that is where our incentive trip is next September. And you don't have to be an elite or make a certain rank. It is all based on 250 points that started in September and goes all the way through June. So you can earn these points by attending events. So even if you can't attend, you can register for the event, you get the point. You can earn points by enrolling customers and distributors. You get points by your distributors actually, or customers actually ordering a second month. So they're working on retention. And so anyone can qualify for this trip. That's what I love. You don't have to hit a certain rank or do a certain amount of rank up to get a points, or it's open to everyone. You guys, Croatia is right across the Mediterranean Sea from Italy. So it is the most beautiful sea, Mediterranean Sea. It looks like a phenomenal place to visit. And so they will wine and dine you, treat you like royalty. Our company puts on the best incentives trips. So I would say, even if you think, well, I don't know if I'll be able to travel in September, we know there's all kinds of weird restrictions that pop up. They said go for the trip anyway, because there's a chance, the company said, that even if you can't travel for some reason, they might be able to give you a cash bonus for qualifying. So really put out of your mind any doubt that you might, whether or not you can go on a trip outside the US. Just go for the trip or go for the points, and see what happens. Because what if they end up paying you the bonus, instead of the trip? So I just think that will be a fun way to re-engage, all kind of work for the same goal. And we have tons of time, to work on it, but they're going to be doing incentives along the way. So anyway, there was so many great highlights. I'm going to, do you want to first do the introduction? We have a new team member. Cindy Lou is a brand new distributor. She bought an elite pack, got in at the highest pack, in with Kim Blauette. She was a customer that upgraded. So I'm excited to introduce Kim, to introduce Cindy Lou. Welcome, Cindy Lou.
Hi, Cindy Lou and I became friends through a networking group that was online that we both joined here in the last year. And we connected, and it was just a really good connection. She's just a wonderful, sweet person. She's an artist. She has a heart of gold. She has a heart for Jesus. And that, makes us sisters in that right off the bat. So I'm going to let Cindy Lou tell you a little bit about herself, where she lives, what she does, and why she's excited to be part of LifeVantage. Cindy Lou, you can unmute yourself and give us a 2-3 minute introduction.
There we go. Okay, I can't see myself. I know there must be a video of me somewhere, but
Yeah, we see you. We see you.
okay. All right. I live in Beaufort, South Carolina. I've only been here. I've been to the South here for 2.5 years and in Beaufort for 1.5 years. I just love Beaufort. I call it the little Charleston. It has the old antebellum homes, and you can take horse-drawn tours, and it's just beautiful. It's right on the water. And anyhow, I just love it here. And I came here partly, I came for a vacation and fell in love and decided to move here. And I'm so glad I did. I've joined an art league, which I've never been part of an art league before. And I have a lot to learn and to grow in, but there's really wonderful people and very encouraging. And so I'm building my art. I'm working on building art. And I used to be a school teacher, and then I was an educational therapist for a while, helping kids that have learning challenges and behavioral challenges. And I decided to retire from teaching, but I couldn't afford to totally retire. So I got my CNA license and became a caregiver for the elderly or sick people. And so I'm doing that part-time, and then doing art the other part-time. And but I've been using LifeVantage. A girlfriend of mine, a different girlfriend other than Kim, somebody that I knew from a long time ago, she's been into health products for years and years and years. And she and I have tried out a lot of different businesses and a lot of different products. And so I had tried LifeVantage a while back, and then I just quit doing it. And then she got me doing it again. But then she had heart issues and ended up passing away. And so then I didn't have somebody, I mean, they were still sending me the product, but I really wanted, I wanted to learn more about it. And she was new at being a distributor, so she didn't know how to tell me that much. So God in his graciousness, he brought me to Kim. And Kim knows all kinds of stuff, and I haven't been able to pick her brains too much because I just joined. But my story is ever since I've taken LifeVantage, I've never been sick. And I was living in Denton, Texas for 5 years when I first started taking it, and just the last year that I was living there. And I've never had allergies in my life, but I started getting allergies over there. I guess that's a real popular area for allergies. And I quit having them when I took LifeVantage, but then in the move and everything, I just didn't order it again or something like that. And so I started having allergies over here again to the pine trees. And so I started taking LifeVantage again, and the allergies went away. And I've gone through this whole COVID thing, working with elderly people, and no sickness whatsoever, and not even sniffles. So I'm really thrilled to be part of it. And I know there's a lot of people that need, especially at this time, they're scared to death of getting sick. And so I want to be able to share with them that, LifeVantage works. So that's what I'm excited about.
Welcome, welcome. So glad you're part of my team and we get to work hand in hand here. This will be fun.
That's so awesome. And we do have, my daughter lives in South Carolina, and Julia's daughter is moving to South Carolina, and we do have a distributor in Charleston. So we will be traveling a lot more there. So we can definitely work together with you and help you grow your team if you want our help.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure I do.
Great. Awesome. Well, okay, we want to just dive into the highlights from the global convention. Those of you that watched online, we can also share with us what your takeaways were. But Julia was able to come. She brought a guest. Jeff came with her, a guest that was a customer but is looking at the business. So it was fun to have him there as well. But Julia, I'm going to let you kind of share the highlights and what your takeaways from the weekend was.
Awesome. Yes, very good. And I think Jeff's on the call. I think I saw that he was on there. So Yeah.
I'm here.
Hey, Jeff. Awesome. Awesome. So, well, first of all, it was incredible to be there with everybody, and it was incredible to bring my friend Jeff with us. And it was just, I mean, you guys know there aren't words to describe. I mean, in my life, being with my LifeVantage family just fills me up so completely. And this event was incredible. It was so professional. Some of the things that stand out was, first of all, just having Jeff there as a guest and being able to introduce him to so many people who everyone is so generous and kind with their time. That's what I love about our company, is the people that are attracted to it are just some of the best people in the world. And so that was really the highlight of my conference, is being able to introduce it to a dear friend of mine, Jeff, and be able to spend all the time with Marilyn there. And we really just had a great time. I mean, for me, the highlights are this board of directors panel was incredible. And I agree with you, Marilyn. If people understand, the fact that we're a publicly traded company with such strong leadership, and when you hear what they have to say, it's truly priceless. And I think when you're sharing this with people, you'd want to make sure that they know who these people are. In our on our websites, you can go to management team, and you can go and drill down and see who these folks are in the business world. So they carry a lot of weight, and you'll hear what they have to say. So that was incredible. The other thing I love is the stacks that they're doing. They're doing stacks that I think are going to really, really resonate with people. Immune stack, heart health stack, eye stack. I mean, for people who have specific needs, they've put together, and of course, Protandim NRF2 and is in every one of the stacks, our flagship product. But they're going to, I think, just help people understand what products they need for their specific, issues. I love that. I love the redesign of the website. And another thing that's coming, which I've been wanting for a while, is emails that are customer focused. So when you enroll a customer on a monthly subscription, the company is going to start to send them some educational emails to keep them in touch with our products and educating them on health and wellness. So that is coming, and that's super exciting. And of course, the IC Bright, unbelievable. I don't know about you guys, but the only complaint I have had myself personally over the last few months is my eye strain. I'm in front of this computer. I mean, I couldn't even imagine counting the hours. On average, they said the average person is in front of their computer 13 hours a day. I know mine's way more than that. And so my eyes have really been struggling. So I bought 4 bottles to take home. So I'm really excited about the science behind the IC Bright, the synergy of the products, and it has copper and zinc in it, which is really critical to NRF2 activation. You need copper and zinc in the cells in order for the NRF2 activation to really occur. And so again, we're really creating these powerful synergistic products that work at the cellular level. So super excited about that. So much. Our breakout team lunch with Maria and Carrie was hard to put into words. A couple of our teammates, like Marco Rodriguez, who suffered a serious aneurysm, but believes because of the Protandim NRF2 being on board, he's recovered so incredibly well. And to see, they put a picture up of when he was in the hospital, and he's recovering very, very well. And there was another story that was shared there that it just, as we know, you guys, we get to experience miracles. So that was amazing. They did a great job on that, and that was really awesome. So let me introduce Jeff really quick. Jeff Ellington is a healthcare businessman from the Burlington, North Carolina area, and he and I met a few months ago. And so I'd love to hear Jeff. If you want to introduce yourself quickly and kind of say what stood out to you as your first time in the LifeVantage family.
Respect and gratitude.
Well, you find me at the grocery store shopping late tonight. Haven't had a chance to get to the store all day, but I'm in the healthcare space and have spent the last, the last decade trying to figure out how to sort of do some things that could help solve these, these really bad systemic problems that exist in healthcare. And being able to spend a couple of days with the
Oh.
sort of family community was very uplifting to me. And earlier today, Julia, Marilyn and I were on the phone with a nurse that I work with that I've sort of brought into my orbit because when you think about how bad the experience is in hospitals today, about the only way you can really solve this problem is to pull and just start taking care of people. And the synergies that Jeannie and I are seeing between what we've been trying to do and the attitude that the Life Vantage folks have, it's just such a natural fit. And I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but there are people walking out of hospitals, the best doctors and the best nurses, especially in these places where they're mandating these vaccines. You've got clinicians that are just walking away from the kind of systems that are in place and the environments that they're expected to work within. They're just not going to do it anymore. And so the timing for doing things that really take care of people, it's just it's just hard to believe that we're sitting on all the sort of pieces that need to be there. And so I certainly really appreciate the opportunity to be at the conference, and am happy to just to be part of this community, and look forward to getting to know all of you guys as I come to further conferences or in meetings.
There wasn't a dry eye in the place when a couple of those stories were shared from stage, and I think that was powerful. And Jeff, you have a really great story too, a powerful story that maybe someday you can share as well. But we will want to recap a little bit of the highlights and keep this call moving. IC Bright, actually on Monday, we're going to have distributor training with Joanne Shear-Perkin. She is a registered dietitian. So mark your calendars. I believe it's going to be on the POSE Zoom link. That is posted on our team page, and it's on the messenger thread as well for that link for that Zoom. And I believe the time is it 7 or 7:30? I'm not sure. But anyway, training will be on Monday. And that is going to go over all the highlights and the benefits, because we know IC Bright, there are other vision supplements out there. And the two really the two carotenoids are the best supplements that are in our IC Bright are recommended by doctors, and it's lutein, and the other one is xanthazine or whatever. It's hard to say that one. But those are actually, we have 4 times the amount. So there's a lot of vision products out there. Ours have 4 times the effective ingredients of those important components. So that's one thing. When somebody says, well, why is it any different than what I'm already taking? Well, that's why. Plus, it also has the bilberries, which they talked about when Brian Dixon did that segment. Make sure and watch that. But he did talk about how the U.S. Navy, or the pilots in the World War II, took massive amounts of bilberries, European bilberries. And this is what's in our IC Bright component and another component in it. And that is a powerful antioxidant for vision, for healthy eyes. So make sure that you get yourself one of these. They're only $29.99, I think, on subscription. You want to have a story with this Vision product, you guys. So make sure you're taking it before you're promoting it. But I already, after taking it just since Saturday, you guys, I can tell it, and they do, you know, I do use the blockers, the blue light blockers, but I do have less eye strain. I can tell a difference in just those few days. But it, you know, it also has an omega in it, or the fatty acid. So that helps as well, because our eyes have a lot of that fatty component to it. But taking this with the omegas is not going to overdose you on omegas at all. It's going to only enhance. And that's why they said being on the Nerf 2, being on these three things is a stack. They actually work in synergistic action together to help your vision as well. And some of you, I told that I had a baseline. I had some vision changes in my optic nerve last year at my vision appointment. And my optometrist told me she wanted me to do a OTC test on it. And my vision is stable, but she told me to take lutein and zeaxanthine or whatever. And those two things are actually in this product. So I'm excited to try it and show her the difference in my eyesight and in my optic nerve and everything as I go forward with those tests later on. So I'm excited about that. So anyway, mark the calendar for Monday night for training on IC Bright with Joanne Shear. Another thing they mentioned, Big Blue Calendar. Put your meetings on Big Blue Calendar, you guys. They talked about even corporate or pro 10s are going to kind of randomly look at meetings in the areas and show up unannounced and surprise people at a meeting. So put your meetings on Big Blue Calendar, because that will be a total blast to have a corporate or a pro 10 or a pro 9 show up at your meeting unannounced. Another thing, like I said at the top of the call, we're having that Road to Croatia tour, the incentive trip. They're doing a corporate and a pro 10 or pro 9 coming around to different areas. And also make sure you're signed up for LVA coming up next month in November, the third Saturday. I believe in Sioux Falls area, we're having either Rye Fry or Blue Elam. So pro 10s are coming to our market in Sioux Falls. Make sure you're able to come to that as well. The new website that Julia talked about, they made some changes, and it's also going to flow into the app. So be watching that as well. Also, when you sign up a customer, as Julia said, they're going to be getting emails right away that first week saying, hey, your order's on the way. And then they're going to actually send another email within that 30 days, checking up on them, and then offering them a $10 incentive or a $10 rebate or offer if they order for the next month. So there's going to be a lot more engagement with the company and the customers. So that is very, very exciting and takes a little bit less strain off of us as far as having to do that type of thing. But there was so many highlights I could go over. Like Julia said, that we had the Elizabeth, the Soul Surfer that was she actually had to be virtual because she wasn't able to fly in from Hawaii. But she was amazing. Elizabeth Hamilton, and she
Bethany.
Oh, sorry, Bethany Hamilton. Why am I saying that? Elizabeth Bethany is close. Anyway, she was powerful. She had a great story. Make sure you're watching that if you get the replay. But tonight I wanted a quick share, if we have some time, to share the panel of our board of directors. It was powerful. It was 3 board of directors plus Steve Fife. And he will introduce them. I'm just going to quickly try to play that unless anybody has any questions, or if you watched the virtual convention, did you have any takeaways that you want to share quick before we play this? No, nobody. Oh, one more thing. They did give us a teaser at the Elite reception. We each had one of these bags by our plate. I don't know if you can see that, but it says Peppermint Stick Axio. So coming, I'm sure, around Christmas time. We'll get to put this in our mocha or hot chocolate. I have not opened mine yet, but I've heard it's great, even just with hot water. It's almost like a peppermint tea. So I'm really, really pumped about that. So I'm sure that'll be coming out in a stack or as a promotion right before Christmas or this fall. So, but right now we have spiced plum. So make sure you're using that. That's really, really good as well. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and play this and we're going to get right to the board of
Of
directors.
each one of us. There are a few other stories that have helped and continue to shape the LifeVantage communities.
I'm just going to fast forward it a little bit here. Hopefully I can get this so that
Main company, and it's great. So I'm
Please help me welcome to the stage the chairman of this yoga loving.
oh, no.
In this case, it extends to the emotional health and those that are distressed and facing hardships. While the distributor response to the know
Sorry.
that
I
we
don't- I was trying to get to the
Found
board
himself
of
in it.
directors here. Sorry. Did I go too far?
about their approach to customer. This
Okay.
is for, there are others that were not able to be here, but we are so thankful that you guys are here. And I have to tell you, so there's this new thing where they like cut your pants a lot shorter than they used to. So I am going to show my socks here. These these socks, they're available at the store, by the way. These are our LifeVantage socks. I actually really like them. So anyways, I'm getting a little comfortable there with that. So thank you guys for being a part of this. And I have to tell you, this goes back to our a few board meetings ago. We had our Pro 10s and our FAB on with us, and it was the first time that we've had them engaged in that kind of a conversation. And you guys shared your stories, and we were all thoroughly impressed about not only your backgrounds and what you've done, but why you came, why you were attracted to this company. And so we're going to start with, will you guys just share with us a little bit about your background, what you've done before LifeVantage?
Well, first of all, I'm a father of 4 sons and 1 daughter, all of them grown, and I consider that to be my biggest achievements. But I also managed to graduate from Texas A&M with a marketing degree, University of Texas with a law degree,
Oh, Aggies.
and I have a stockbroker's license. I'm managing partner of a law firm that has 5 or 6 offices: California, Washington, D.C., Austin, Texas. I'm a managing director of a hedge fund in New York. I'm very fortunate that I have my health, but I give that credit to taking Protandim for the last 14 years. And, you know, it's just a pleasure to be here. This is probably, Darwin asked me how many of these I've been to, and I think I've been to at least a dozen. And I'm just glad we're having them again. I hope we go back to 3 or 4 a year.
I love it. Michael.
Yeah, Michael Beindorf, and I would echo what Gary said. It's terrific to be back in an environment where we're face to face. I mean, it has been a long 18 or 20 months. I know for me, and I'm sure for you guys as well. I can't keep up with Gary. I only have 3 children. I have 2 boys and a girl. Thank you. I give all the credit to my wife, I'm afraid. Yeah. I grew up in marketing and advertising kinds of roles. I graduated from Emory in business school in Atlanta with an MBA, and then I spent about the first 15 years in the soft drink business with Coca-Cola. I kind of worked my way up through various sundry marketing and advertising operational roles to be the chief marketing officer for the years, and then I had responsibility globally for the brand as the chief advertising officer around the world. I left Coca-Cola and worked my way west to San Francisco, spent 5 years at Visa, the credit card company, and their chief marketing, product, and operations officer. It was a terrific experience. I went on to do some things, spent several years as the CEO of an internet healthcare and pharmacy several years as the chief operating officer for a luxury destination club. But for the last 10, 12 years, I've kind of run my own marketing consultancy. I have sat on a number of different boards, public, private, and some not-for-profit. Probably the best known of those is I spent 7 years on the board of the World Poker Tour, where I learned to play a little Texas Hold'em. I love it. I think I left all my stipends on the table. And today I do the management consultancy thing. I'm a partner in an energy exploration company. But most importantly, I am here at LifeVantage. And it is, I believe, one of the great opportunities and callings of my life, and I'm excited to be here.
Love it, Michael. Thank you. Appreciate that. Darwin.
Sure. My name's Darwin Lewis, and first of all, it's an honor to be here. I'm married, daughter in Nashville, two daughters, 2 and 2 months. Spent 36 years with SC Johnson, a family company, a global leader when it comes to consumer products. Various positions in sales, marketing, acquisition, was a general manager in Canada for 3 years. And probably the biggest inflection point of our life was general manager of Greater China, where we developed our e-commerce strategy. And if you ever go to China, and if you go to Alibaba or JD or RT Mart or Carrefour, take a look at a brand called Mr. Muscle. It's the dominant brand, market leader in China. So very satisfied with that success and looking forward to working with each of you and making Pro Tandem and LifeVantage also a dominant success in China and in other markets.
Yes.
Steve, these men truly are titans. Their experience is unbelievable. So I'm Steve, and I've been with LifeVantage for just over 4 years, and my background, many of you know, I started as the chief financial officer, and I've spent 30 years prior to LifeVantage in various finance capacities with some very big companies, names that you might not be familiar with, but JDS Uniphase was a telecom company that experienced some exponential growth back in the late 90s and early 2000s. Gilead Sciences is a biotech company, and I've been at semiconductor companies. This was my first network marketing company, and it's great. So I'm happy to be here.
I love it. You're crushing it. Well, thank you for sharing that. And I can tell you, these guys, that was very humble, the way that you introduced yourselves, because I know you've introduced yourself to me a lot stronger than that in some of our but thank you for sharing that. Now, I'd just like to get a little background on how you were introduced to LifeVantage and why did you say yes to LifeVantage? Gary, we'll start with you again.
Well, Justin, I had worked with David Brown, and 15 years ago, he calls me on the phone and he says, look, I'm going to work with the new company. You ought to consider serving on the board. And I said, well, what is LifeVantage? And he said, let me send you the science on our product, which was Pro Tandem. He sent me the science and I got enamored immediately. He knew I played football at A&M and got really enamored with supplements, and I'd been taking a lot of supplements all my life, and Pro Tandem's in a whole nother league. And if you really care about your health and your well-being and anti-aging, I'm gonna brag, I'm 73 years old. And I look the way I do because of Pro Tandem. And I got real excited. And as you said, I've done a lot of things. I worked at the State Department. I worked in the White House. I was a constitutional officer in the state of Texas. But this is the job I have where I'm on the side of the angels. We make a lot. We make money, but we're on the side of the angels because there's just an awful lot of people that depend on us for their health and well-being and their anti-aging. And I love it. I spend, compared to other things I do, I spend an inordinate amount of time because I want to be on the side of the angels.
the amount of time that Gary spends on LifeVantage, because a lot of that is on phone calls with me.
That's awesome. Michael. Well, first, Gary, you know, A&M is going to get a little taste of the Crimson Tide tomorrow. So
Oh, that's true.
we'll see how that goes.
Well, I don't. It's been 11 years since Johnny Manziel beat you.
But and we remember it well. So some of you have heard this story. I got a phone call 9 years ago from a woman who had been a professional colleague of mine for many, many years. And she wanted to talk to me about a company called LifeVantage. And like Gary, my first question is, well, what is LifeVantage? And so she and I spent some time chatting. I knew very little about free radicals. I had never heard the term superoxide dismutase or catalase, and I certainly was not very familiar with network marketing. But the more we talked, and she talked about Protandem, she kind of piqued my interest. So I went away, did a couple of days of research on my own. I stumbled upon Joe McCord's paper on NRF2 and its relationship to disease. I managed to work through a few of the peer reviews. And by the time I got done, I called her back. I said, look, I don't know if I belong on the board of directors, but I want Protandem. And I was a product believer and a product consumer before I ever joined the board of directors. So is my wife, so are my kids, so are my brother and my sister and my brothers and sisters-in-law.
There you go.
And,
You're already building a business.
I sat next to Carrie Dickey at my first Pro 10 dinner. And if I wasn't a believer before that, I certainly was after. Anyway, so I became a big believer in the product. And then I went to my first meeting like this. It was in Anaheim in 2012 in the arena there. And I remember walking into the meeting, and I'd been in a lot of big meetings, a lot of bottler meetings and things of that nature. But I'd never been in a room that felt this electric. And it was fascinating to hear the people tell their stories, to listen to the passion that they had for the product. And then about midway through the morning, Dr. Joe McCord came on stage, and you would have thought it was Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones. I called my wife on the phone, literally in the middle of the meeting, and said, "You wouldn't believe what I'm seeing." So I became a believer in the people as well, and I'm excited to be here.
That is so awesome. Thank you, Michael. Darwin.
There are 4 reasons that I joined LifeVantage. The number one and most important to me is to make sure that my North Star aligns with the mission of the company I work for. Once I commit, I'm all in. But having that alignment is mission critical for me. And as we heard this morning, you know, the mission at LifeVantage is leveraging the power of relationships to unlock the health and wealth for everyone we touch. At SC Johnson, we were inspired by family to make life better. So when I heard that mission, I said, you know what, that's a company I want to be a part of. The second area I call Product Plus. It's the little thing. And at LifeVantage, when I also did my research on Protandem NRF2 and saw the power that only LifeVantage has with Protandem, that reduces your oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days. I mean, if you want to be healthy, it's a no-brainer. So check. The third area that I look for is what I call People Plus. And people that want to work hard, they want to be successful, and they want to make a difference. And the more time I spend with the people at LifeVantage, the more energy I get. I'm really, really excited about the people here and online. The other part on people that I want to mention is organizations change. People change over time. And if you don't change, you're not going to be relevant. And I'm really impressed with our current management team because they've really focused on a servant leadership style. They're listening and they're focused to make sure you get what you need to win. It's not about management winning. It's about you winning and supporting you. And the fourth and final area, there's more. I could talk all day, but I'm just going to give you my top 4. Is this was a nugget I didn't realize, and I attribute Steve and the broader organization as the chairman of the audit committee. When I started to go through the financials and the balance sheet and the P&L, I said, oh my gosh, there's no debt. This is a cash machine. We have dollars to invest. So if you got ideas to grow, let's talk. I mean, it's a very special and unique place to be. So those are my top 4 reasons, and I'm thrilled to be here.
Love it. Great stuff, Darwin. Thank you.
Hey,
Steve.
for me, the story was a little different. I had been part of we were living in Austin, Texas at the time. Just been part of a company that was sold and was enjoying a little bit of downtime when a recruiter who was located in Dallas reached out to me and said, hey, I've got this opportunity. Would you be interested in learning more about it? You've probably heard that line before. And so we chatted a little bit on the phone, and he talked about the company and said, well, it's in Salt Lake City. And I to this day, I don't really know how he connected the dots when finding me and Life Vantage. I did go to university in Utah at BYU. And I think that's the only connection point as to why he thought I might be a fit. But as I started to study the company, to join as the chief financial officer, I saw a tremendous financial upside, a company that was had all of the right elements, incredible products, opportunities to expand internationally, a very strong and accomplished board of directors to help guide, and a leadership team that was a strong leadership team. And so I saw the opportunity to take some of the skills that I had and to come and help realize some of that dream that was laid out. The foundation was already there, but an opportunity to drive that to higher heights.
I love it. We're so glad you came. Yes. Thank you guys for sharing that.
Justin, can I say one
Yeah,
thing?
absolutely.
Look, y'all make Life Vantage. Our products are great. Our culture's great. Our management team's great. But the reality is we are only as good as our distributors, our partners.
That's right.
And the thing I really like about the way this culture works is we are partners with some of the best entrepreneurs in the world. And they're sitting here or watching us on virtual TV right now.
That's right. Appreciate that. So we'll finish it up with just a very simple question. What do you see as the future of Life Vantage? I mean, we talk regularly, you think about it daily, but what do you see for the outlook of this great company?
Well, I guess you're going to make me go first again. When I first joined the board, we weren't a network marketing company. We sold our product in general GNC stores, and we spent about $3 million, and we had about $2 million in revenue. And it was not sustainable. And I remember at one of the first board meetings I went to, and I said, well, if we can't take this company to $1 billion, we all ought to resign. And I hadn't changed my mind since then. We're going to take this company to $1 billion.
I love it. Michael. Well, I've had the opportunity over the years to be involved with a number of large consumer goods companies. And one thing they all have in common is they're constantly on the lookout and searching for another product to run through their established distribution system to grow their business. At Life Vantage, we don't have that problem. Guys, we have the product. We have the product. The problem is that in 18 years since Pro Tandem was launched, there are still way too many people who are not aware of our product. Look, all we have to do is tell the story. Get up every day, tell the story, tell it again, and tell it again. There's no great mystery here. You know, we are in a world that is moving towards health and wellness and anti-aging. And obviously, after the last 18 or 20 months, I think people are looking for ways to control their own destiny. You got the opportunity between LifeVantage Pro Tandem and our network marketing model to provide them both of those things, the products and the business opportunity. So the only thing I want to say to you guys is do not miss what may be one of the greatest windows of opportunity of our lifetime. Right now, get committed, get engaged, and let's take this thing to 250, to 500, and to $1 billion.
I love it. All right, Darwin.
All right. In terms of vision, I'm aligned with Gary. It's $1 billion. It's double digits. There's two types of companies: companies that grow and companies that go out of business. We're a company that's going to grow. Two is to be the best company to work for. To develop a culture where people are lining at that door because they want to be in here. To be the best company to work for on a global basis. Three is to be a legacy leader. You know, we all work hard and we want to make money, be healthy, but you know, it's the legacy that we leave, the people we touch, that really is going to set us apart. Now, my call to action to each and every one of you and myself are these 4 areas. One is to stay focused. It's easy to get defocused. It's easy to focus in on what's the new product. We got to stay focused on what got us here and what's going to get us to the next level, which I would say is NERF 2 and beyond. 2 is we need to build new muscle. The world is changing, and the people that change in that changing environment are the winners. And we need to build muscle to win in our current physical world, our one-on-one world. But we also need to build muscle to win in the virtual world. The path to purchase and the path of influencing of consumers, how, where, and when she shops is changing, and we need to change with her. The third area is, if you talk to the best athletes, the best teams, the best people in the world, one thing that they always have in common, as great as they are, they're never satisfied. So always stay hungry, never be satisfied, always strive to go above and beyond. And last but not least, time flies by. Celebrate your wins, celebrate your success, smell the roses. My 36 years flew by. I've been with LifeVantage for 5 years, is flying by. Your life is going to fly by, but make sure that you have fun along the way. Thank you.
Wow, great stuff, Darwin. Thank you. I kind of feel like I'm in a board meeting right now. Taking some notes, but Steve, why don't you finish this up?
Yeah, no, thanks. And thanks to each of you for making the time to be here and to share your thoughts and wisdom with us. You know, I shared my story about coming here because of a financial opportunity and seeing the opportunity to make a difference in the company and how it was run. And I can tell you that over the last 4.5 years, that perspective has changed for me. And what I said just a few minutes ago this morning was that perspective has changed to focus on the individual impact that we have. It's a perspective that I've had a couple of times in my career, but never like I feel it at LifeVantage. It's what gets me up in the morning and motivates me to come into work, to work with Justin and the corporate team, to work with the board, to work with all of you, is because I know we have the opportunity to change lives. And it's a unique industry that your success is really predicated and based on you making other people successful. It's just the way this works. And that is uncommon in most industries. And so my vision is that we continue to touch lives of people that we come in contact by doing those little things. It is the consistent day in, day out principles that we continue to teach and refine and remind, but you know what you need to do. And by going into action, that's what is going to push this company into momentum. And that is how we're going to go from to 250 to 500 to $1 billion.
I love it. I love it. Thank you. Please help me thank our board of directors. Thank you guys for making the
All right. That was a little taste of what our convention was. And I thought it was so powerful that the way they shared it, like I said, that to me could be in meeting for somebody. And if they don't believe after that, I mean, don't you guys think that was awesome? I mean, there's a lot of credibility there, and with what type of portfolios they have as businessmen, and then their belief in the company and the product, and they're just like, this is a no-brainer. So I don't know. I just thought that was powerful. I had to share
time
that.
to come out. I don't know about you guys.
All right. So I know the call went long. Sorry about that. Does anybody have any final questions or comments before we wrap it? All right.
Good stuff. Let's roll, folks.
Yeah, right. I'm excited. Okay, guys. We'll see you next Tuesday night. Same time, same place. All right. Have a great week.
Thanks, Marilyn.
Good
Good night, everybody.
night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.